It's time to get outdoors on WHTL. Are you ready? From the deepest woods to the open waters, from the rocky trails to the snowy tracks, if that happens outdoors, we're talking about it. From fishing to hiking to hunting to trail riding, we cover it all. Brought to you by Petrick Service Station, Bolton Sporting Goods, Black River Express, Moe Hardware, the Levis Drum Rail Riders, the Elk Ride and Gun Club, Triplo County Economic Development and Tourism, and the Associated Conservation Clubs of Triplo County. So tighten up your boots, check your hook, and fire up the engine. The adventure starts now.
It is that time once again to get outdoors, and I'm joined again by Peter Jonas, and he's brought a special guest with him, Haley Passow. Is that how I say it?
Correct.
And you're on land conservation in Trempealeau County here.
Yep, that I am.
All right, and that's what I get to do in Jackson County. So this should be a great conversation this morning. Thank you both for joining us.
Looking forward to it, Brian.
Yeah, so we'll start with you, Peter. How's things going? It's been probably a few months since I got to talk to you.
Yeah, it's been a while. And I want to mention that this time, actually, late winter, early spring is just a tremendously busy time for people who are engaged in stream restoration because final plans are being made. We're making sure we got permits for everything. We're asking contractors for bids and doing all of that preparation work. And we have 2 projects that are going to be under construction this spring and summer in Trempealeau and Buffalo County.
Okay.
Yeah. One of them is on County VV, way up in the northern part of the county. It's a tributary of Chimney Rock Creek. We're going to be doing a restoration project up there. Beautiful small creek we're going to be working on. And then the other is in Denoozer Creek, which is a tributary of Whitehall. Already there has been land excavation to slope the banks toward the creek that took place this winter while the crops were off the field and they could drive heavy construction. And we're going to be putting trout habitat in there as soon as that is allowed. So looking forward to those 2 big projects that are the culmination of a lot of work, a lot of fundraising, applying for grants, coordinating with partners, and very grateful.
Yeah, and those restoration projects are much needed. I know from working on Jackson County Conservation, we just had in zoning, there was a place where there was a house that's been there for years, on the bank there, and there was a part where years ago they had put in all the stuff to keep from the erosion happen, but they only got to go so far with the money, and then so where they didn't, that has moved 90 feet in the past 50 years. So
Wow.
it's washed off the bank, and so all that soil and silt goes down and into other lakes, and so it is very important that we do these projects.
Oh, yeah. Haley is much more adept, I would say, at using some of the GIS software and some of the historic photographs. But if you get into looking through historic photographs, aerials, you will see that some of our streams have really moved. And streams do want to move. There's no question about that. But it's a balance, of course, about, what kind of movement a farmer or landowner can work with. And then, if you're up against a house, that's not a place you want the stream deciding it's going to start taking more territory.
Yeah, exactly. And Haley, we're going to talk to you a little bit now, too.
Sounds good.
So you're on land conservation. What is your role there?
I am the county conservationist here in Trempealeau County.
All right.
So, yeah, it's really exciting. So with that role, I deal with everything from the mining aspect to youth education, to stream restoration projects, to working with producers to get different conservation practices on the land, including nutrient management and cover crops. And I see there's a lot of producers in the fields actually this morning as I was driving in, getting as much as they can done in this drier weather. So.
Yeah. And how long have you been in that position there?
I have been in the county con role for about a year now.
Okay.
And then I got into the conservation department about 4 years ago.
Okay, it's good to see those new faces out there.
You bet. And Haley is a keeper.
All right.
Yeah, we are really grateful for the level of support she brings to land conservation and stream restoration and a wide array of things that are important, not just to hunters and anglers, but anyone who cares about having a earth that is in better shape than we found it.
Yep, and that's really important this week. Well, it should be important every day of the year, but it was Earth Week here. We're calling it Earth Week. There was Earth Day the other day, but Earth Week we are celebrating here. And one thing I want to let people know, you do work with, county conservations, but Trout Unlimited is actually a nonprofit organization.
Correct. And, we're not the DNR. We're not the county conservation department. We are a group of angler conservationists, and we are really interested in healing watersheds. That's our main focus. Some people joke that Trout Unlimited is a fishing club with a conservation problem, or we're a conservation organization with a fishing addiction. However you want to look at it, those two things basically go hand in hand with Trout Unlimited's mission.
Yep. And hey, those are two good things to go. To have problems. If you're going to have a problem with something, those are the problems to have.
Healthy, a friend of mine once said that, mental health is dependent upon having healthy addictions rather than unhealthy ones. So
I like that. I'm gonna have to keep that one. That is a good one. And you said you got a couple projects coming up. Any fundraising or anything you're doing, or you're always kind of fundraising? If people want to get involved with Trout Unlimited, they can go to your website, and I see you got memberships and places you can give. If they go there, they can go to them and click on the membership and giving tab,
right,
and find out.
Yep. The best place really to engage locally with Trout Unlimited is if you go to Facebook and you look up Driftless Area Restoration Effort.
Okay.
And that is the specific area of Trout Unlimited that I work for. And we really work in the 4 states of the Driftless region, and we have historically done a ton of work in Buffalo and Trimble County. That's been a very important area for us. And I regularly update things that are going on with either our Clearwaters chapter that meets in Eau Claire, or the Cooley Region chapter that meets in La Crosse or Viroqua. Those are the 2 closest local chapters. But our Facebook pages are frankly in better shape than our website, if I'm totally honest. So, and more up to date.
Yeah.
But if people want to be involved locally, I have a tremendous opportunity for folks. We, along with Elk Rod and Gun, are hosting a free kids fishing day Saturday, May 10th from 10:30 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. And this is going to be on the recently completed project site on Traverse Valley Creek.
Yeah.
It is on Highway X. And it's a little challenging to, especially on radio, to describe how to get to this place because it doesn't have a fire number. So, but if you go... if you start at the intersection of X and 93, which is just south of Independence, and you go, there's just one way, it heads northwest on County X. You go 5.7 miles. And I'm going to have signs out there that day, so just follow the signs.
Okay. And
that's where it's going to be.
Okay.
And the first thing we need are kids.
Yes.
So we'd like kids and parents from grades 3 to 8, ideally. Now, if you have a couple kids and you've got a 4th grader and you've got a 2nd grader, there's not going to be security there to kick the 2nd grader off the off the stream. But we're just thinking moving water, roughly kids grades 3 to 8, along with a parent. We're going to have lunch. That's going to be provided by Elk Rod and Gun Club. That
Okay.
We're jointly sponsoring the event. We're also going to have an electrofishing survey. So the DNR is going to come out at 11:30, and they're going to see what's down there, which I'm really excited about because we've just had new habitat put in, and I've fished it, and I know there are fish in there, but I'd like to see that. And we're going to be giving away fishing rods, outdoor things, maybe some backpacks, some compasses, some whatever we can find that is really cool for kids to enjoy outdoors. So we need kids and parents to come to that event, first of all. And if you don't have a fishing rod, one will be provided.
All
If you
right.
got your own gear, go ahead and bring it because you're comfortable with it and so forth. But if you want to introduce your child to fishing and you have nothing, come to this event and we'll give you a fishing rod and we'll give you some hooks and point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So that we can guarantee you. The next thing we need for that event, Brian, is volunteers.
Okay.
I am looking for some folks who, and Elk Rod and Gun, I should add, as always, is fantastic. They're, as I said, going to be doing all the food prep and so forth. But I need some additional folks for, if you got the patience to tie some knots and bait hooks, your skills are desperately needed. So come on over a little before time. That would be a great help if you wanna help introduce a child to fishing. Set up, clean up, fly anglers. I'd love to see somebody out there tying some flies. I'd love to see someone demonstrate how to cast a fly rod. Maybe be willing, if there's a child or two who's interested in trying fly fishing, to give them a little coaching. That'd be marvelous. And also the registration table. So we have plenty of opportunities yet for volunteers there.
Yeah, that's great. And the nice thing about these events too is, like, maybe you're a parent that you never were involved in fishing, and maybe your child might like it. So if you don't know anything about it, don't be afraid to come, because they are there to help you learn the ropes and the laws surrounding fishing, I'm sure, too. So bring your kids out. Don't be embarrassed if you've never been fishing, you don't know how to tie a hook. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people there to help.
I couldn't have said that better myself. I really appreciate you mentioning that, because we want this to be totally beginner friendly.
Yeah.
And that is something that I will say about Elk Rod and Gun Club, is that's like core to their mission, is that they really want to see young people and any people who are unfamiliar with outdoor pursuits get engaged in that.
Yeah, I think it would be a great event for, even someone that is normally like a lake fisherman. This is on a stream. It's a different, type of fishing. So it's a great opportunity to get out and just try it out. So, and then the county was a part of that stream restoration, and so it's awesome to see. It's a beautiful site. So
should mention that Haley, along with Rob Herman, who was the contractor on that site, and myself, we did a video that is available on the Trempealeau County Public Access Station YouTube site about that restoration project on Traverse Valley Creek. And Haley in particular and Rob did some things with the soil conservation benefits and being able to measure how much soil loss has been rectified. And it is really intriguing in my mind to be able to visualize that the way they described that.
It was dump truck loads of soil saved. So these stream restorations are huge in saving a lot of soil on the banks and keeping it in the place that it is.
Yep. Well, then when people do these conservation efforts, it helps. We've got these lakes you hear about all the time. They're dredging all the time.
Yep.
That helps, not eliminate it completely, but it helps, maybe the times in between you have to do the dredging and the
Correct.
cleanup.
Yeah, prolongs the time that you have to between dredgings. I know there's multiple here in Trumbull County that
Yep.
are dredging right now, actually. So definitely helps the downstream part of it.
Yeah, and that's a cost. And I know, like in these restoration projects, like in Jackson County, we have where we can get some grants and some funding where you get half. We can pay for half, and then the landowner pays for half. So does Trout Unlimited help with some of that funding too, or help people steer people in the right direction to find that funding?
Oh yeah, that's something that Haley and I have done many field visits together, which is always a lot of fun. And so then she can address funding things from a county end. We have two partnerships with government agencies.
Yep.
One with the NRCS, the Regional Conservation Partners Program, and then one with the Fish and Wildlife Service, which is the National Fish Habitat Partner grant. So through those two programs, Trout Unlimited is able to get significant funding for stream restoration projects. And really, our goal is that if we get a willing landowner who is open to a conservation project and open to having a public fishing easement, that landowner will have no out-of-pocket expenses to have that stream restoration project completed. We'll put those funding sources available and coordinate them together to make that happen. And that often includes donations by our local outdoor clubs. Like Elk Rod and Gun contributed to this project on Traverse Valley that we're celebrating. Wamedy Rod and Gun is contributing along with Buffalo County Conservation to the Denuser project. So a big part of my role is just trying to work with all of these partner organizations and secure this funding for these projects.
Yep.
Yeah, a good explanation. It's a spider web of all kinds of funding, and we are the spider pulling it all together to make it actually work. So there's lots of different entities that are involved, so it's not just one.
Yeah. Oh, that is a great way to explain it.
Yes.
So, well, is there anything else you guys want to cover before we get going today?
Well, just on that subject of funding, to mention, and I know this is right now a very important and potentially controversial topic in public conversation, but these are government programs that are right now facing a great deal of uncertainty about whether that funding will continue.
Yeah.
We're optimistic that it will continue. We are, trying very hard to communicate with our elected leaders and explain the value of these programs, but I don't think it's any great newsflash that these programs and the staffs of a lot of the federal agencies are under quite a bit of stress these days in terms of what the future might bring. Very happy to say that funding has been secured for the projects, the two projects we're talking about this summer, and been approved. But we are facing a little bit of an uncertain climate right now with these things.
Yeah, we're noticing that too, and it's just kind of like hold your breath, cross fingers, knock on wood, and say a prayer because we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Well,
and if we do have just a minute or two, one thing that Haley has really taught me, and one of the things I love about being an angler, is that, when I first started trout fishing, all you want to do is try and catch a dang fish. You're just so, it can be very challenging. But then you start looking at the land around the stream and thinking about it and all of the other wildlife around the stream. But then my connection with Haley has helped me see the landscape of the entire watershed around the stream and the importance of not just a stream restoration project, but upland conservation practices for contributing and really being the foundation that if you have good upland practices, you're going to have better stream health. And I was hoping, Haley, you could maybe share a little bit about what the County Conservation Department does in terms of not just stream restoration, but those upland practices that contribute to water.
So
watershed health.
We have most of our funding is for a lot of the upland practices, which include like grass waterways.
Yeah.
We have grade staves, which are like dry dams to slow the water down, coming through these steeper valleys here in this region. And a lot of, installing cover crops. We have cost sharing for that, which helps keep the soil in place when we don't have a crop on that field. And the project that we're going to be doing this year actually has a mix of stream restoration and upland practices to make sure that it's like all encompassing and a whole project. So we're not just looking at one little piece of that watershed instead of, we look at the whole scheme of it, because it's all connected and it all flows downstream. So we have to look upstream as well in upland.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what I've been learning about in land conservation too, because I've been there a year now.
Okay.
And so about the same, and I've learned so much from Gaylord and Mike down there about that preservation and that upstream. That's what we really gotta start looking at too. So
it's amazing all the soil that goes from the top to the bottom, and you can't really replace it. You can try, but it's just not as good as like a stable in situ soil. So keeping it there is key.
Exactly. Well, thank you both for coming in today. Any parting words before we go?
I do. If you want to, now you ask a retired preacher if you got any parting words, that could be a disaster, but I'll try to restrain myself here. But if you do want to volunteer for this event on May 10th, you can reach me at petermjonas@gmail.com, or I'm going to share my phone number over the radio.
Hey, go for it.
I hope I don't regret this, but this is where I'm at looking for volunteers. It's 608-323-2006. So if you'd like to volunteer and can help out, give me a call or shoot me an email.
All right. Well, thank you, Haley and Peter, for being here today. We will probably get you back in sometime soon again, and I look forward to it.
I super appreciate the chance to share what's going on in the trout world.
All right. Thank you. And we're going to jump back into the music right after this short break.
Tap into your home's equity with a home